Hi everybody. Today I'm going to take some pixels and put on my freshly made wireframe. This one's an Olaf. It's going to be a singing face. What I do is a simple method. I take the pixels, I untangle them up, and I just use black wire ties. I'll wrap them around there, do them end to end real close, and once I get all that done, then I'll go model it in software and turn whichever light, whatever color I want for my display. So we'll go ahead and get going. What I like to do is I take the pixels, I put them end to end up close. I'll secure the wire so it's nice and flat up against the wire in the side of the pixel, so that way they don't get caught on anything while you're moving around, setting it up in your display. And then I'll take, once I get the wire ties in position and tighten down to where I want, I'll go snip these off. This is a pretty repetitive process. I'm just going to go in a circle. I'm probably going to start right here at the foot, come around, and then I'll just zigzag through the whole thing. All continuous string. There'll be times when I'll need to cut the wire and splice because I can't reach a spot on it, but it'll be one continuous run. And then when I get it into xLights, I'll show where every single pixel is in that on my custom models, what I'll make. And from that point, once I know where everything is, I can set up the submodels and turn on various things. Turn the eyes on and off. I can have them smile, have them sing. So here's a close-up of just using the cable ties. Here's the first pixel, all run in a row. You'll see that I'm using 2 wire ties per pixel. And what you end up with, I do anyhow, the lead one feeds back to back where it gets locked in place, and then every other one reaches back. That way I like to keep the cables nice and tight to the side of the wire, so it, again, like I said earlier, so it stays out of the way. All right, so I've been making progress. I have 200 pixels now on Olaf. Here's the point at which I broke the power line so I can do power injection from the backside. These are 12-volt pixels. You can see here where I've actually cut the line and I've spliced in using those heat shrink self-soldering connectors. They're waterproof. When I'm setting up all my props, I typically do that. You see the leftover connectors from the string there. So 200 so far. I'm guessing I'm going to be close to 400 when I get done. So when I inject on the back side, it'll be ought to be pretty well balanced. All right, just thought I'd show everybody where I was at. So when I run up against a dead leg on a part of the wireframe, in order to keep the continuous run of pixels, what I'll do is I'll skip every other pixel, which you can see right here. There's a pixel. Next one's here. There's room for another pixel here. And you'll see what I done at the end here where I've hit the end of it. Then I'm going backwards, flipping through. And I'm just going to keep doing that. I've left zip ties loose so I can maneuver things around and get them in there in the right place. And then I'll tighten them up at the last minute and snip them off once I get everything in the right position. And now they're all in position, tightened down, zip tied in place. You'll see 2 of them, 2 zip ties per pixel, tightening up the wires around it, as well as it prevents those pixels from twisting and getting at a funny angle and working their way loose over time. I'm just about done with wiring up Olaf. I'm getting to a point where I'm to do my last splice, so I thought I'd put that in video and show people how I do that. I have these heat shrink connectors. I got the 2 ends of pixel screens. And oh, by the way, I just noticed these are pixels I bought last year from Daniel Zhang, or Zhang as some people will pronounce it. And they're labeled, and actually last year, before we had all the pixel issues, it came with lot numbers, quality control, so if there was ever any issues, I could always reach back to them and tell them what lot it came from. So I thought that was actually pretty good, since that's one of the recommendations that came out of all of the pixel issues that were noticed last year. Okay, so I just thought I'd go through the process. I'll get 3 of these heat shrink connectors. I've already pre-stripped the lines. And you can look at the chip Or you, on this particular set of pixels, I can look at the wire. The wire that's the ground is got like a dashed line on it. The center is always the data, and the final one is the V plus, the positive voltage. All right, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that lined up right here, double check everything. Yep, so ground is there. Slide those two together. That one came out. And now the challenge is to get it all synced in. And the next thing you have to do is you have to make sure that the center portion where the solder actually is sits over the wire connectors. You just gotta make sure they're all lined up. Solder sits over your wire strands, and then I just use my big old crescent wrenches to hold it all in place. And you'll see I have a cutting board I've actually put underneath it, because I do have a wood workbench here, and I don't want that to get burned. So I just use this old Walmart cutting board that I just use for all kinds of things. All right, you get the heat gun going. And you just keep it going until you see it, the solder melts, and it'll start to flow all over the wire strands, and it'll be done. I'm starting to see a couple of them starting to do that. You also will see that the plastic from the heat shrink tubing will melt all around it. All right, that's looking good. And this gets very hot, the heat gun. So here on my work table, I just set it on my table saw. The metal won't burn. So I'll finish the soldering with the heat shrink tube. And what I do after I've done that, I want to make sure I have good connections. So I've connected that to one of my differential receiver boxes and put it in test mode. And as you can see, everything's lighting up. Looks like I got everything working well. On the box I have, what I've done is I backfed power in from the last pixel in the string. And here's the input. It runs through, it gets to the 200th pixel. Then I've cut the positive, and the power comes in the backside, and the data and the ground is continuous through the entire prop. Well, there's Olaf, all done, all wired up, all ready for custom modeling xLights. This is just, I have it running off of a test pattern off my Falcon differential receiver board. All looking good. Next is to model the wireframes lights in xLights. As you can see in the upper right hand corner, I have Olaf there cycling through the test pattern on my Falcon controller. I have all 358 pixels on. As I model it, I will turn on specific lights so I make sure I get the custom model set up properly from pixel to pixel. It has to be in the right order, and once you have that, the sky's the limit on what you can go do with it. There are 3 methods that I know of to do a custom model. 2 of them are native to xLights. One, you put a picture in there and you set up a grid and you click on the picture for where each one of the lights are in the proper order. The other is an automatic method, recording the video. I tried that, and with the density of pixels I have here, it didn't work so well. So I'm going to skip over. For the first time, I tried it last year, tried it again this year. It's just not working with my high density layout here on my wireframe. So, but what I'm going to do today is I'm going to use David Peace's tool to lay it out. I like the fact that I can pick exactly where the pixels are. And so with that, we'll go ahead and get going with it. Here is David Peace's custom model builder. You have the hand here and you can just grab it. You can move your workpiece around. The plus is for adding nodes, and this is a select. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a file. Alright, and I have already taken a picture here with the lights lit up. So there it is. Now, important to recognize is that this is flip horizontal, and this is so if you're doing wiring from the back. Since I'm looking at it from the front, I'm going to turn this off, and this is, you'll see now that my picture orientation now lines up with the video down in the lower right hand corner. And next I'm going to roll the mouse, I'm going to get the hand, and I'm going to get set up to the beginning, which is right down here on this foot. Okay, and so the first thing I'm going to go do, this is a technique I like to use, is I'm going to turn off the test pattern and go to my string port settings. I'm now going to change this to 1. Alright, I'm going to save, and I'm going to go back to the test pattern and click enabled. So now we should see the first pixel is flashing. Now I go back to here. I'm going to have my pixel node selector. I need to make sure it's set to 1 since it's my very first pixel. I'm going to roll in a little closer, and I am going to click on the first pixel, number 1, and you just keep going to 2, 3, 4. You just go around in a circle. Now I'm going to get the hand and move it down so I can see it. And now I click back to the node selector, and there's number 8, 9, 10. This does take time doing this, but in the end you're going to have a really nice model. Go back to the hand, and again back to the node selector. Alright, so now let's test that we got the right place. Okay, so I'm going to change my port settings to 18. I'm going to save this to my controller, go back to test, enable it, and looking right here like we got it right. Let's put this side by side. Here's pixel number 18, and based on what's flashing on the screen, we're on a pixel 18. Working perfect. So now I'm just going to keep running down the line. So we're going to go to 19, 20, one nice thing about using this tool versus the one in xLights is you do not have to worry about the grid size. It just automatically gets exactly where it is, at least as you're setting up the model. Alright, so we're at 26, so I'm going to go back to the Falcon, turn off the test pattern, string ports. I'll go back, double check, 26 where we're at, so I'm going to change this to 27. Just so I know where the next pixel goes in the wiring pattern. Testing, enable. Okay, so as you look at it now, alright, it's going off to the left. So I'm on 26, 27 goes this way, and we're just going to run down. And this process will just continue until you get it done. Well, okay, so now we have the custom model done. You'll see from the video on the left, all the lights are lit up. The last pixel is 358, and I have that lit up. As you saw me going through this, I would adjust I actually don't have the last pixel lit up. Let's change that to 358. Update my Falcon controller, and you'll see on the screen there on the left the last pixel lit up. So they're all lit up. So Olaf is now completely modeled in David Peace's tool. I've also gone through and created submodels and faces. So right here under submodels, you will see here running down on the left hand side here, I've done the hair, nose, left arm, right arm, buttons, right foot, left foot, and the eyebrows. And let's just click on hair so you can see here. So hair has, I've highlighted nodes 94 to 137. So I'm going to zoom in on the nodes here so you can actually see the numbers. And so you'll see starting right here at number 94, it runs around and up and down and ends up at 137. So I said 94 to 137. Here's a nose. I'll click on it. It'll highlight in green as well. So you'll see the nodes I highlighted for the nose. And I've repeated that for all of the various submodels I decided to create. All right, now for the faces, same type of process. Okay, the eyes open. I only have an eyes open condition here. And so I'll click on the eyes and you'll see the node numbers, and it will circle around the eyes, the left and right eyes together. Okay, and then the face outline. We'll click there. So this is the outline of the entire Olaf. And then on the faces, the AI sound here you see is the big face for, or the big mouth I should say. So that is, and that's just repeated over and over again. So once I have that, I get all the submodels I want. I can export this into xLights. So I'm going to name this Olaf. Okay, wireframe. And so then I am going to click on the file button. I'm going to export it as an X model. And you will see right here, it dropped it right into my downloads folder. So now I can import that in directly into xLights. Now with the custom model exported, I like to put the models into a special folder that I have created in my xLights directory that is called models. Here is my download folder with the Olaf wireframe model. I'm going to drag this over into my models directory in xLights. All right, now it's time to import Olaf into my display. You'll see here's my home model in xLights. It's in a 3D model. I can move it around, rotate it. So I got that. I had it right about where I want it there. Where I want to bring, I'm going to put him right here on this lower roof. So I'm going to click on the import button and draw a box to show it. And now once it's looking for the actual model, so I need to navigate to my xLights data, models. You just need to remember where you put it, and there's the Olaf wireframe. I'm going to open it. Give it a second, and there he is. All right, and I'm going to lower him, put him in the rough position where I want him. I'm doing is holding the center mouse key or the scroll wheel down to get it to just pan and within a plane. All right, now I'm going to push the left mouse button to rotate a little bit, and so I get a better perspective. And I'm going to slide him back close to where I want him, and lower him just to put him in the proper position. Now he's a little bit larger than he'll really be on my display. So I'm going to click the center button here, get the boxes on the end, and if I hold the control button and click it, it will keep the aspect ratio the same, so I can shrink them down a little bit. And now if I click back to get the arrows, I can lower them right on the roof where I'm going to have him. So there we go. Now remember to click save once you've done this, so you keep him in the model. And now he's selected here, Olaf wireframe. We can look at the submodels here. Let's look at this. I'll bring it over to the right window, and you see here I have all my submodels all built in. And if I make this larger, you can see there are the eyebrows, arm, and you'll see how it's highlighting the parts. Okay, hair, nose. So it's all in their model. You can actually add new submodels if you want directly from this within xLights later on if you need it. I'm going to close that, and let's go ahead and look at the faces. Click on that, and here you have all the definitions for the faces. Again, let's make it larger. Let's click on, there's the AI, the E, etc. All the various different face shapes. And where I got these, I actually went to the Gilbert Engineering's and downloaded the model they had built in for a singing bulb. One of the larger ones that had a lot of definition on their singing bulbs, and I mimicked that the best I could. And so you can always make adjustments here in xLights. You can add nodes, you can take them away as you see fit to make it look exactly like you want it. So there you go. It's built in. Next thing I'll do is I'll show you is I'll get it modeled up in a sequence and show them singing with them. I have Olaf now set up in my office, and I have him connected up to my Falcon controller on port 1. I also have FPP going here. I've uploaded the sequence for Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I got FPP right up on my computer screen, and Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I'm going to click play, and we'll see him go.
Let's get this party started.
And there's Olaf with his singing faces, singing. Well, that concludes this video. What we've done in this video is we've got all the lights on Olaf. We sequenced the face and the submodels, sequenced the song to it, and played it off of directly out of FPP. So I hope this helps somebody, and if you got any questions, feel free to send me a message.